New tonight, the South Texas Blood and Tissue Center is joining the nation's first emergency blood reserve program.
Yeah, the announcement comes as blood centers nationwide have been facing shortages since the start of the COVID-19 pandemic. The center has committed to collecting extra blood units if any of the other locations that are part of that program begin to run low. In addition to the program, the center also created the first helipad at the blood center as a way to quickly resupply blood. Organizers say the goal is to be able to get blood to any of the partnering locations if there is ever a major disaster.
With the blood supply being as difficult as it has been to maintain over the last 18 months, we are really worried that we wouldn't be ready for any kind of disaster should it happen. So in order to not only be ready for our community, but also have other communities around the country able to step up and support San Antonio and likewise.
San Antonio is one of 7 other community blood centers joining the program. Those other locations include Austin, Dallas, Southern California, Oklahoma, Wisconsin, and Pennsylvania.
After 3 days, United Way has successfully created 1,200 family emergency preparedness kits. We first told you about this story yesterday. Today, completing that 3-day event, it took 300 volunteers to get that job done. Organizers say this was how the United Way wanted to commemorate the 9/11 attacks. They hope with these kits, families will have all they need if a crisis ever hits.
It's hard to believe it's happened, and it's been 20 years since, and it's just a privilege to be together, to see so many people come together and do good in our community to honor those, especially for the families that were impacted by this. They are the reason why we're doing this, because they were the ones that fought to make sure that we turned tragedy into good.
Each of those kits included things like first aid supplies, hand sanitizer, blankets, flashlights, and much more.
A San Antonio group is honoring the first responders who lost their lives during the terrorist attack with a memorial climb. This morning, San Antonio 110 held a 9/11 memorial climb at Hero Stadium. The purpose of the climb was to reach the 110 floors firefighters inside the World Trade Center did not get on that fateful day.
A lot of these people that I know, on that day, went into those buildings knowing they weren't coming down, and yet they still went. They ever more attribute that no greater love than the one who gives down his life for a friend, and they gave down lives for people they didn't even know.
Participants carried 343 service tags to honor each firefighter who died on September 11th.
Considering the heat and humidity we normally have this time of year, really great weather today for that kind of event. All the other memorials for 9/11. Really our first taste of fall, even though it was only in the mornings and evening hours, though.
Yeah, it was,
You had to get up early or stay up late to enjoy the cool weather.
Yes, even this evening wasn't too bad out there, but the mornings have been the sweet spot for the past couple of days. So if you're out early this morning for a walk or a jog, you really got to savor that. Nice clear skies. A little crisp as well with lower humidity for the past couple of days. So that drier air does help our temperatures drop down a bit more overnight, rise a little bit more in the afternoon. So low temperatures today, upper 50s in the hill country. How about that? 65 the low in Pleasanton. And this afternoon it was hot, but no triple digits on the board. We'll take that. Upper 80s in the hill country, a high of 97 in Del Rio. So overall, a really nice day. Tomorrow, though, there will be some changes in place. Temperature wise, a lot of us will be back in the low 90s, but we're going to have more clouds around tomorrow from start to finish, and just a few clouds would be a big change from today since it was just bright blue clear sky. So more clouds tomorrow. Also slightly higher humidity. It's not going to be oppressively humid tomorrow, but the air is just not going to be quite as dry as it was today. So today in the afternoon, our dew points were down near 50 degrees. Tomorrow, they'll be upper 50s, but a little bit closer to 60, so back up closer to that muggy mark. And then early middle part of next week, it'll start to feel a lot more like late summer again with higher humidity in place. We do have just a few clouds that have filtered in late this evening. Skies are mostly clear, no rain out there, a few showers down closer to the coast, but there's a lot more cloud cover and some additional rain as you work into the far southern Gulf of Mexico, down closer to the Bay of Campeche here just off to the west of the Yucatan Peninsula. If you've been keeping up with the forecast for the past couple of days, you know that there's an area of disturbed weather down there in the Bay of Campeche. This is is called a tropical wave, a tropical disturbance. Basically, it's just an area of rain that hasn't organized into a formal tropical system just yet. But the Hurricane Center does give it a 90% chance of becoming, at the very least, the next tropical depression for this season in the next 2 to 5 days. And I do expect that we could have the system organized into a tropical depression as early as Sunday, but potentially as late as Monday. So until we get that tropical depression to form, a defined center of low pressure, center of circulation, that creates just a degree of uncertainty with our forecast models, particularly when it comes to how organized that system could be. And that's important because that's going to play a big role in coverage of rain and also eventual rainfall totals. Now, the latest spaghetti plots tonight are helping us out a bit with positioning here. A good group of them do bring that system by Monday up around Corpus Christi area, so middle lower Texas coast, and then inland Tuesday into Wednesday, generally between San Antonio and Houston. This type of track here with the system, regardless of how much it organizes, would put most of the rain well east of the I-35 corridor, and that is lining up with the latest rainfall forecast models. So along the Texas coast, anywhere from Corpus all the way up to Galveston, south of Houston, that's where it looks like the highest rainfall totals will be over the next 5 days. Notice as you work west, those rainfall totals really fall off on the drier side of the tropical system. So we'll keep a very close eye on that here over the next couple of days. But just know we may be tweaking our forecast a little bit as we head into early next week. But for now, it looks like most of the rain will be off to the east of 35 and San Antonio. A quick look at your FUTURECAST heading into tomorrow morning. Partly to mostly cloudy skies to start the day tomorrow. That'll be a change from the past couple of days. Not quite as cool, but not terribly uncomfortable. As we get into tomorrow afternoon, partly cloudy skies, 20% chance of a coastal shower. Most of us, though, will be rain-free on Sunday with high temperatures in the low to mid 90s. Looks like our best chance of rain out of that potential tropical system will be on Monday. More on that next half hour, guys.
Thank you, Katie.
No sweater weather ahead. All right, Larry, UTSA Roadrunners had their home opener today. They ran all over Lamar in the Dome.
It wasn't even close, and I'll tell you what, UTSA did not suffer any type of letdown after winning at Illinois last week to open up their season. UTSA at home, some 16,000 fans were on hand to watch UTSA football pull off a first today. And in BGC, #1 Brennan Bears played tonight, and they're looking good. Coming up. UTSA football entering the field of fire and smoke of the Alamo Dome. The face of the Lamar Cardinals this afternoon. It didn't take long for birds up to fly. Lamar punting the ball to Sheldon Jones. He fields it on the hop, makes the first defender miss. Then Jones, a.k.a. Sticks, weaves his way through players, and you can kiss him goodbye. 76-yard touchdown. Welcome back home, UTSA. They go up 7-0 with 12 minutes left in the first quarter. Second frame, 13-0 Birds. Handoff goes to Sincere McCormick. He cuts inside through a big hole, 18-yard touchdown to make it 20-0. And Sin handing out some high fives to the crowd after that. Lamar ball now. Bad snap to the QB. The ball bounces once, allowing Charles Wiley to scoop and score. 44-yard touchdown for the linebacker. And UTSA's rolling 27-0. They led 34-zip at halftime. Third quarter, Josh Atkins playing QB for UTSA, and he plays toss and catch with Sakari Franklin. 32-yard touchdown. Roadrunners earned the first shutout win in program history, 54-0.
I was here when we were 3-9, 4-8, so just getting this new facility, experiencing that it just makes you appreciate it because these wins don't come often, and being a part of those teams, you really appreciate everything that's coming.
It's new for us. We're not used to this as a program, as players, as coaching staff. So we all had to be very careful because this thing could get real crooked. If I'm sitting in here next Saturday, y'all won't be smiling as good if we're not out there practicing our tails off this week.
Check out this stiff arm in the second quarter. Frank Harris to Franklin and Goodnight DB. Undefeated UTSA will host Middle Tennessee in a Conference USA game next Saturday, 5 p.m. at the Alamo Dome. Trinity Tigers at home playing the McAllister Scots from St. Paul, Minnesota. First quarter, Tigers ball, quarterback Tucker Horn dumps it off to running back Winston Hutchison, and he does the rest with a lot of yards after catch. That goes down as a 56-yard touchdown. 7-0 Tigers, and the route is on. They go on to win by a final of 64-0. And Texas Lutheran beat Austin College on the road 41-7. And in two more finals for you, we have Texas State beating Florida International 23-17 in overtime, and Incarnate Word wins 40-9. Before kick, they held a moment of silence tonight at Ferris Stadium to honor those lives lost on 9/11. And then Brendan and Harlan played some high school football. First quarter, quarterback Ashton DuBose throws to Aaron DuBose, 10-yard touchdown, and the Bears strike first, 7-0. Still in the first, Bears ball. Ashton DuBose goes over the top to Aaron DuBose again, 39-yard toss and catch to make it 14-0 Bears, and the number one ranked Brendan Bears take it 44-10. Great atmosphere at the Gus. Jay taking on O'Connor. Mustangs threatening in the second quarter. Quarterback Jackson Gutierrez keeps it himself, sheds one tackle, then another, and another. 4 broken tackles. Gets to the end zone on a 21-yard keeper. Jay leads 7-3. Panthers answer back on the ensuing drive. Garen Andrade rolls right and goes deep for John Locke. He's got it for a gain of 50 yards down to the 7-yard line. That sets up a 21-yard field goal for Aiden Nanez. 7-6 Jay in the final from the Gus. Jay wins at 35-25. At South Sand Stadium, West Campus taking on Rock Springs. Angora's up 6-0 in the first quarter, and adding to the lead, Sebastian Vieira pitches to Ty Henley for a 15-yard touchdown run. They go for 2 and convert for a 14-0 lead. That's headed to the big game coverage scoreboard for that final, and Rock Springs takes it 44-0, and Hondo falls to Uvalde 38-20. Last night, Taft versus Holmes, District 29 6A opener for both was a thrilling win. Battle of 2-0 teams. Taft kicking off after scoring the go-ahead touchdown with 8 seconds left in the game. Huskies, Joaquin Ramirez gets outside, and he has gone 80 yards to the house with no time on the clock, and Holmes is down 1. 14-13. Now they roll the dice and go for 2 on the win, but the Huskies can't convert. Christopher Medeles to Julius Ramirez, no good. And Taft wins 14-13. Man, that was close. Whew. Yes, it was. Texas A&M lost starting QB Haynes King. We got that for you later in sports, guys.
Some great action out there today. Thank you, Larry.
We'll be back.
Welcome back. Dedications to those lost at the 3 sites where nearly 3,000 people died happening all over the U.S. today. Mourners gathering at the 9/11 memorial along with President Joe Biden and First Lady Jill Biden. Former Presidents Barack Obama and Bill Clinton also there. Bells tolling 6 times, marking the 6 pivotal moments of the attack, starting at 8:46 a.m., marking the exact time when American Flight 11 crashed into the North Tower of the World Trade Center.
Ceremonies also happening at the Pentagon, where 184 people were killed, and in Shanksville, Pennsylvania, where the 40 passengers and crew of United Flight 93 bravely overpowered the hijackers and crashed the plane down into the field. Vice President Kamala Harris spoke of the humanity and courage of those brave individuals.
We must also look toward the future, because in the end, I do believe that is what the 40 were fighting for. Their future and ours.
Former President George W. Bush also delivering remarks today in Pennsylvania, comparing the September 11th terror attacks to the growing domestic terror threat here.
Body of a Marine sergeant returns home to Lawrence, one of the last casualties of America's longest war. Today, the body of Marine Sergeant Johanny Rosario Pichardo arrived at Boston's Logan's Airport. Pichardo was one of 13 U.S. service members killed by a suicide bomber during the evacuation in Kabul, Afghanistan last month. Veterans Memorial Stadium will be hosting a wake for Sergeant Pichardo on Tuesday, and she will be buried with full military honors later that day.
So much has changed since that September day 20 years ago, and to mark the anniversary, the KSAT Explains team talked to first responders, veterans, and educators about how 9/11 has shaped their lives. The episode is available to stream right now on demand. Myra Arthur steps into the breakdown booth to tell us all about it.
We all have a memory of that day, a memory of 9/11, a memory of how we found out, how we realized that that first plane that hit the tower was not the result of an accident, but instead that our nation was under attack. how the world stopped spinning for all of us, even if we were 1,000 miles away from New York City or Shanksville, Pennsylvania, or Washington, D.C. We can all remember that day. And when we saw that date, this 20th anniversary approaching on the calendar, our KSAT Explains team knew that we wanted to do something related to this 2-decade anniversary. But we knew we did not want this to look like a traditional show. We ultimately decided that we wanted to talk to people whose lives have certainly been shaped by the events of that day, first responders and veterans. We were fortunate enough to be able to sit down with some local first responders, our local police chief who was in Washington, D.C. on 9/11, for example, 2 local veterans who served tours of duty in Iraq and Afghanistan as a result of what happened on September 11th, 2001. We talked with veterans who their lives not only shaped by that day, but also what they do now. Their profession as teachers at Karen Wagner High School, named after a hero who died in the Pentagon on 9/11. We let them tell their stories to show the impact of that day, to show the ways in which their worlds have been shaped, their professions, what they are doing 20 years later was shaped by a memory, a day, a tragedy that none of us wants to see again. Take a look at this episode of KSAT Explains. You can check it out right now at ksat.com/explains or on the KSAT TV app. And we want to say thank you to all of those first responders, all of those veterans who made this such a compelling story, but who also have served our country and our community in the decades since that day.
Still ahead on the Nightbeat, this local veteran remembers 9/11 like it was yesterday. He breaks down what it was like learning about the attack while stationed in London. We'll be right back. It has been a busy night. Let's get you to some more breaking news. This coming from the east side tonight.
This is happening at I-35 in Hormel, not far from Splashtown. That's where we find our John Paul Barajas.
John Paul, what are you seeing out there right now? What can you tell us?
We have been here barely more than 5 minutes. So what we've been told by another photographer that works with us who's been here is he believes he's seen a couple people be detained. He thinks it might have been a high-speed chase, possibly a deputy-involved shooting. But again, I want to say that's only what he's seen and what he believes. It is not confirmed. As far as what I've seen since I've been here, it's been lots of flashing lights. Now behind me, the warehouse's parking lot here has been taped off by caution tape. There's probably 9 to 10 Bexar County Sheriff's units behind me and another 7 to 8 in front of me. We are waiting for Sheriff Javier Salazar to come over here and talk to us and give us official information about what this scene is all about and what actually happened. But until we do, that's all we have for right now. John Paul Barajas, KSAT 12 News.
If we get more details before the end of the show, we'll bring them to you. If not, they'll be online, and we'll have them for you tomorrow on GMSA. Meanwhile, the events on September 11th, 2001, affecting the lives of everyone directly and indirectly across the world and the country.
Those events still weighing heavy in the hearts of many Americans, especially today, 20 years later. One San Antonio man says he's been to war, but says his proximity and connection to the attacks always chews at the back of his mind.
As Jonathan Cotto reports, it was his military duties that kept this Navy captain alive and safe.
This is retired Captain Kenneth Jarvis. He served in the United States Navy for 36 years. 20 years ago, Jarvis was representing the Navy's Theater Ballistic Missile Defense Program in Washington, D.C. His office at the Pentagon. Just the Sunday night before the attacks, Jarvis was on a red-eye to London on assignment, an assignment that essentially kept him out of harm's way.
My office was in the Navy annex to the Pentagon annex to the Pentagon, but I was over in the Navy Command Center a lot, and had I been in the Command Center, I would have been killed along with everyone else. The entire watch section was killed that day. I lost people that I saw on a daily basis.
The hijacked American Airlines Flight 77 obliterated that section of the Pentagon, killing 125 people inside and everyone on board that plane. For Jarvis, it wasn't so much the idea that he could have been among the casualties. His concern, the people he worked alongside day in, day out.
I just had a tremendous sense of confusion of, gosh, who's dead and who's alive, what's going on. This is my office, this is my home away from home. There are people I love that work there.
That horrific day, the 703 area code out of Northern Virginia crashed. Jarvis says his children weren't aware that he'd flown to England on assignment, thinking he was where he always was, at the Pentagon.
And she said, Dad, and it's hard for me to say this, I just wanted to know where you were.
Jarvis says he will never forget the effort of those first responders who lost their lives that day and carries the memory of his colleagues near and dear to his heart.
I attended 3 of your funerals, and we miss you.
Mr. Jarvis was a passenger on the second flight allowed back into the U.S. shortly after the September 11th attacks. And he says it's important younger generations remember what took place today, 20 years ago, and never forget. Reporting, Jonathan Cotto, KSAT 12 News.
Welcome back. Well, it is the peak of the Atlantic hurricane season, and it is busy out there. I'm going to step off just briefly so you can see that we've got five areas that the National Hurricane Center is monitoring for potential development. These ones in orange here have a medium chance of development. The yellow is low. And of course, a little bit closer to home, an area that has very high odds of becoming at least the next tropical depression for this season. Over the next 2 to 5 days, we actually expect this to happen as early as Sunday, as late as Monday. So this disturbance here is expected to organize over the next 48 hours or so as it moves into the Gulf of Mexico. Latest spaghetti plots, a good batch of them, are in agreement that this will move up toward the middle and lower Texas coast late Sunday into Monday, and then move farther inland, generally between San Antonio and Houston as we get into Tuesday and Wednesday. So we've got decent agreement on exactly where this system will go. There's not so much agreement or forecast confidence in how organized it will be, and that organization matters because a more organized system will be more condensed, and that's going to keep rainfall from being too spread out. Currently, here's the rainfall potential over the next 5 days. Highest numbers well east of I-35. It does look like most of our area is going to be on the potentially western or drier side of this potential tropical system, and that will leave a lot of us with lower rainfall totals. This could be adjusted a little bit east or west over the next 36 hours, so keep checking back. We'll make forecast tweaks as the data from that potential tropical system continues to pour in over the next day or so. So we'll keep you updated. I do think our best shot at rain from that system will come on Monday. Currently, it's quiet out there. We've got a couple of showers down south of Victoria, mostly clear skies. We'll pull in some more clouds through early tomorrow morning, so we started off today beautifully and clear. Not so much tomorrow. More clouds around in the morning and throughout the course of the day. Temperatures generally in the low 70s tomorrow morning, back into the low 90s tomorrow afternoon. As far as any rainfall goes, the best chance is going to be down near the coast for an isolated shower or non-severe storm. We're just going to go about a 10% chance of a little stray shower in and around San Antonio tomorrow. So a dry day for the most part tomorrow, but you'll notice a slight increase in humidity. Again, Monday, barring some forecast tweaks, looks like our best chance to get some scattered showers and storms from that potential tropical system. Then as we get into the middle and back half of the week, just some isolated rain will be possible. Our high temperatures over the next few days will be staying in the mid to upper 90s. We'll have more tropical weather updates for you over the coming days. You can find that always on KSAT.com and also on the KSAT Weather Authority app. We'll be right back.
Number 5, Texas A&M struggled big time against Colorado at Empower Field at Mile High in Denver today. Aggie starting quarterback Haynes King injured his right leg in the first quarter while scrambling to his right. He left the field with the help of 2 Aggies assistants and was later seen on the sidelines using crutches with a boot on his right foot. enter Zach Calzada, who struggled as well. Fourth quarter, Aggies down 7-3. Calzada runs right and appears to score a 13-yard touchdown, but after the review, Calzada was ruled to have fumbled the ball before scoring, and the touchdown is reversed. But he delivered late in the game. On the move, he hits Isaiah Spiller for an 18-yard touchdown with 2:41 left in the fourth. A&M's defense stopped the Buffaloes on their next drive, and the Aggies survived, barely winning 10-7.
He was positive. We all kept a positive vibe. Nobody pointed fingers because we don't do that. It's not the standard. And we all just wanted to win. Zach still showed that. Zach got comfortable towards the end of the game. I feel like Zach's going to be really good for us down the line. He's going to get more comfortable, more practice time, so we're going to be ready.
2-0 A&M will host New Mexico next Saturday, 11 a.m. at Kyle Field. Number 15, Texas, getting a taste of SEC football tonight, playing at the Arkansas Razorbacks. And the Horns' first three possessions went fumble, punt, and missed field goal. Second quarter, Arkansas running back Dominique Johnson battles in for a 5-yard touchdown, and the Hogs led 10-0. UT trailed 16-0 at halftime. Third frame, Texas finally gets on the board moments after picking off a pass. Bijan Robinson, 1-yard touchdown run, and Texas trails 16-7. Arkansas would respond with 17 straight points to extend their lead to 33-7. Fourth quarter, quarterback Casey Thompson in for starter Hudson Card, and Thompson breaks off a 5-yard touchdown to make it 33-14 Arkansas. He would later add a second score, but too little, too late, as Arkansas rolls 40-21. Fans started to storm the field at Donald W. Reynolds Razorback Stadium as the clock hit 0. In other Big 12 finals, you have Oklahoma winning 76-0. Iowa upset Iowa State 27-20. In two more finals, you have Tulsa falling to Oklahoma State, and look at that, TCU was two better than Cal, 34-32. Moving on, we have West Virginia 66-0, Baylor 66-7 over Texas Southern, and in two more finals, Kansas State is a winner 31-23, and Texas Tech over Stephen F. Austin 28-22. Quite the sight this morning. Every member of Army football carried an American flag as they ran onto the field in remembrance of the victims of 9/11. Plus, Mikey Stadium in West Point welcomed fans for the first time since 2019. Hilltoppers wide receiver Jareth Stearns, brother to Denver Broncos Caden Stearns, had 9 catches for 171 yards and 2 touchdowns, but Army wins at home 38-35.
Pro football coverage powered by Davis Law Firm.
The Texans will start their 17-game regular season at NRG Stadium tomorrow noon with the Jaguars. That means the Texans defense will see rookie QB and number 1 draft pick Trevor Lawrence right out of the gate.
He's a great player. He's a great player. He was picked number 1 for a reason. I don't got to speak too much on him. We'll see what his first game's like on Sunday.
There you go. We'll see what it's like.
Saturday of upsets, looking for a better Sunday. Thank you, Larry.
We'll be back.